Good afternoon, YouTube. It's been a while. I am Danielle, better known as Danielle Happy Medium, and in this particular topic of video, and off the back of a question I received yesterday from a lady called Deborah, we are going to take a look at who's telling who's the medium, and if we should really be listening to people out there in the business, whether they are right, true and accurate to tell you whether or not you have some kind of ability or you have some sort of link to the spirit world. So Deborah got in touch with me yesterday after being to a particular open circle here in the northeast of England. And in that particular open circle, a particular medium had given a message from a rostrum, or from the open circle, telling this particular individual that they had a very extra strong ability with the spiritual world and it needed unlocking. So for many of you who've been watching my channel for some time, you know I've got a little bit of a problem with this. And I have seen it go on quite readily in the industry at large. And the reason I have a little bit of an issue with this, or why I know that these things shouldn't really be going on, is what tends to happen is the lovely Deborah, who got in touch with me yesterday, will come away from that open circle or rostrum or whatever it is, where there is no actual evidence base that this particular individual has a link for the spirit world. It is only an observation by another person reading a particular energy. That does not mean to say it's true, right and accurate. But what tends to happen is people then put their spin on it, and then they will leave the particular client, general public, or maybe somebody who is or has an ability for the spirit world with no particular place to go for extra help and support when it comes to working with them particular abilities that this medium or psychic or whatever has supposedly said that this person has. So what then tends to happen is like I said, Deborah will come to me. She asks me a handful of questions to find out whether or not I can explore her gift or tell her a little bit more about her ability, which unfortunately I won't do as a medium. And the reason being is because, one, when these things are going on within open circles or on private readings, I know I've had a few particular people tell me about private sittings and these things going on, or off a particular rostrum, there is no evidence there to back up what is actually being said. When we take a reading from the spirit world, it is always evidence-based. It is shown to be true, right and accurate because of the evidence that comes through from the loved one from the spirit world there. Now with the psychic, we can sort of read energy, and maybe further down the line that may or may not come off depending on the particular path in which you're walking. So we're always having to make sure that when we're telling people anything, it has to be evidence-based fact. Now what happens is when we're telling people that they may have an ability or they may have an extra strong ability to the spirit world, what we need to remember here is nobody's ability is any more stronger than anybody else's when working for the spirit world. We are all but one, which means that we all work with the same spirit world. The only difference is that certain people are a little further in their development or a little further along the path than other people. Nobody's ability is any stronger than anybody else's in the spirit world. We are all the same. Every medium is the same. Every student is the same. Everyone is the same. It is just like I say, some people have developed that skill set a little more than others. So when other people tell other people that they have this extra strong ability and it needs unlocking, as they put it, what can tend to happen there is the person who's taken the message from the open circle, rostrum, sitting, whatever, goes into a bit of a frenzy, which is what Deborah was when she rang me yesterday, and wanting to know more about it. And what tends to happen is become personal responsibility. For mediums, and I've spoken about this quite a lot here on the YouTube channel as well, for lots of mediums and psychics, we have to be very careful what we're telling the general public and what we're not, because we are personally responsible for everything that comes out of our mouth. If you are meant to work for the spirit world, or if you are meant to be able to do some kind of work for the spiritual realms, you will be put in front of the right person, the right place, or the right scenario in order so that your ability or your gift, I like to call it ability, I don't really like the word gift because I don't feel it's a gift, it's an ability, and I am going to be doing a video on that. You will be put in front of the right person in order so that you can take that next step, because that is what you're supposed to be doing for the spiritual world. So for example, with me in particular, as many of you know my story of my friend was into mediumship. She put me in front of meditation. From meditation come my particular guide. From that, there was a calling for me to go to CM Church, which I went to, which is where my first rostrum work come from. So Spirit had it lined up for me to go. They just give me signals, and it's up to me to follow them signals or them signs or them hunches, which I did. And this is what I say about with lots of mediums, and if you ask them, most of them will have some kind of backstory of the fact, they just happened to drop into spiritualism, or they were looking for something because of the fact that they lost a loved one, or whatever it may be there. So what tends to happen is the spirit world already have it already set up for you, or they will know where you need to be. It is not our job as a medium or anybody else to tell people whether they have an ability or not, because ultimately my interpretation of an ability is far different to somebody else's interpretation of an ability. If these people come to me and they ask for my training and I train them, I can then take a look and see where their ability, or if that ability can be developed, or how more we can develop that ability to move it forward there. And that is because they are meant to come to me because they've been in the right place at the right time, and that is what the spirit world wanted them to do. So for Deborah, who came to me yesterday and asked me about a billion questions with connections to this particular open circle and this particular quotation, my answer in short is nobody has any more stronger ability than anybody else for the spirit world. It is just that some have refined their ability more than others. For them who tell people of a rostrum and of open circles and such like personal sittings, please remember your personal responsibility in what you can do to that particular sitter sitting in front of you. And also remember, it is not your job to tell somebody that they have an extra strong ability for the spirit world and it needs unlocking, or that they're a medium there, because you haven't got evidence, nor have you got factual proof, for which is what we use for mediumship to be able to prove that what you're saying is true, right, and accurate. For them who ask me a billion questions, I have been away from YouTube for a few days, unfortunately. I've been extremely busy with other parts of my life, so do take my apologies on. I will be back later this week with another video up there for you. But for those who are watching this one, please give us a thumbs up, maybe subscribe to the YouTube channel. I am back tomorrow night doing a live Q&A, so I should see you all then. And it's been a pleasure as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all very, very soon.